Thank you for coming back today. Over the past few weeks, there's been some blogs that have been, hard-hitting, and I made a commitment a while ago when we started this little thing that I was going to give you everything I could give. But there's some times where you have to kind of get very real, and then there's some times that you can be a little bit lighthearted, and then there's some times where you can mix in some light-hearted thoughts in the midst of some gut-wrenching truth in the midst of life that you sometimes just want to check out from. Am I right? Today I'm going to tell you kind of a funny yet very pointed struggle that Samantha and I went through. And every situation kind of goes through this. And it's the struggle of which the unfaithful, and I'm laughing now because it was such a huge issue for us, but it was the struggle where I had changed and I was trying to convince Samantha that I had changed, and she wasn't seeing how much I had changed. There were so many times, and it probably took, 3 or 4 months before I got to this point, but not 3 or 4 months of good, hard, committed work, just 3 or 4 months since disclosure, where I kind of felt like, hey, listen here, cowgirl, I have changed. I'm a different man. You need to wake up here. I'm different now. Can't you see? And it was difficult because at 3 or 4 months out and not having hardly any good, strong recovery work, we had just maybe got to seeing Rick. I was absurdly deceived. I mean, I had not changed a lot, but I was starting to see things a little bit differently. And Samantha was still traumatized. She was still in pain. And this is a critical juncture for a lot of couples. The unfaithful is starting to kind of see the light a little bit. The betrayed is still kicked in the teeth, traumatized, full of hurt, full of pain, unsure, insecure, unaware of what's going on, doesn't maybe even know the total amount of what has gone on, believe it or not. But yet here comes that unfaithful spouse riding on a big white horse trying to convince you that he or she has changed. So unfaithful, man, I got to tell you, I've been there. You're not as changed as you think. And you're going to have to give time to the betrayed to actually believe you because you have broken their trust and given them every reason to not believe you. And I know that hurts, but I'm telling you what Rick told me, so please don't get angry at me. Just realize that you need to hear this because you are going to be distrusted for months, probably years. But if you are acting rationally, reasonably, and don't have anything to hide, then who cares if they distrust you? Have them put accountability on your phone. Have them check where you're at. Ask them to have you send them a picture of where you're at that moment. I mean, there's several methods of accountability. If you need help, reach out to us. We'll be happy to do that. I'm a changed man, Samantha. You need to hurry up and heal. I was so stupid. But I said it. And the problem was it was confusion, and one day Rick helped kind of bridge the gap. He said, Samantha, I truly believe that Samuel is seeing things differently. I think the lights are coming on. It's a slow work, but it is a real work. But Samuel, you have to realize you have just put your wife through the most incredible car accident ever, and she still has to go through physical therapy to get the use of her limbs back, not to mention the use of her reasoning and trusting and vulnerable faculties, if you will. And so he was able to help me understand, wait a minute, there's a process to her healing, and I am actually changing. Because I was a narcissistic, self-absorbed train wreck. I masked it with scriptures and masked it with false compassion to some and real compassion for my kids and for my affair partner and for people that I genuinely cared about, but I was so angry, so deceived, so caught up in myself, I didn't have a ton of compassion towards Samantha. And that's just the bottom line. And so what was really interesting was when Rick brought up to me the fact that I was secretly trying to control Samantha again. And I said, Rick, you're a genius. I get it that you're the most well-respected therapist in infidelity recovery, probably in the southern area of the United States. I get all that, but I think you're really off on this one. And I tried to convince him how wrong he was, but then he took me through a little exercise one day, and it's too long to say, but basically I turned as red as the shirt that I wear sometimes in my other blogs in humiliation because he was right. Because I was trying to control Samantha by trying to make her, trust me again, make her believe that I had changed. I was saying to her, you're stupid, you're not seeing it, I'm right, you're wrong, you're not healing fast enough, you're the problem, you're the reason I cheated, I've changed and you just can't see it. Doesn't that sound like control? Because it sounds like control to me. One day, Samantha really decided she was just going to tell me like it was. And she said to me something that I used to preach all the time. I used to say this, whether it be a group of 100 or several thousand, I would say, if you have to tell me you've changed, then something's wrong. If you have to tell me you've changed, then you're really not changed. And one day, Samantha, I don't know what got into her, but she just remembered it. And she said, you know what, Samuel? If you have to tell me how much of a changed man you are, you probably haven't changed all that much. Because I should be able to see it and feel it and experience it. And I think at that current moment I had an aneurysm. Because I literally looked at her and something took over and it was like just this complete, like, what am I going to do right now? Like, I just froze. And I literally, the smartest thing I did was I just walked away. I just walked away, and I took a long walk around the block, and I realized that she was right. And so I share that with you because you can't control the way your spouse sees you. You have to be willing to change, unfaithful, for you, because it's the right thing to do, because it's what you need to do, because you're not just changing for your spouse to stop the divorce or come back together with you. You're changing because you know that you need to change, because you know that you need to change to be a better person, a better father, a better friend, a better husband, a better man, a better wife, a better spouse. It's not just, I'm going to change enough and put on a front so that they won't divorce me and so that they'll let me back in the house again and in the separation. No, it's, I need to change because I have lost my moral compass, which allowed me to break the vows of my marriage, and I need to get help. And you know what? I'm going to release you, spouse, from me trying to control you to see that I've changed. I'm just going to genuinely change. I'm going to do everything that I can to get healthy. I'm going to read what I can read, study what I can study, get on the website. I'll do whatever it takes to change because I know that I need to change. I don't need to have you convince me that I need to change because I know that I need to change and I'm willing to do whatever it takes.